Revealed, baby puppy Ginger's heartwarming encounter with 5 incredible zoo giants, a touching adventure that will change everything. In the heart of a small American town, news traveled fast. The beloved local zoo, a bright spark in an otherwise gray Rust Belt community, faced impending closure. Families were crushed. The zoo had been a refuge, a place to laugh and bond over the wonders of wildlife. All the while, 8-year-old Emma, with her wild imagination and playful spirit, felt an ache in her chest, a reflection of her mother's quiet sighs as they sorted through mounting bills at home, each more daunting than the last. Then there was Ginger, a spirited baby puppy with fur as vibrant as autumn leaves. She was Emma's heart and joy, her tiny world filled with boundless curiosity. One sunny afternoon, chasing after a fluttering butterfly, Ginger stumbled upon a hidden entrance to the zoo. Overgrown with weeds and forgotten by time. Without hesitation, she darted through, her ears flopping and tail wagging with uncontainable excitement. Nothing could prepare her for what lay ahead. Inside, an oversized elephant stood, trembling with anxiety. "What will happen to us?" it trumpeted, its big, soft eyes filled with worry. Ginger trotted closer, her little heart brimming with compassion. She nudged the elephant's leg with her tiny nose, a gentle gesture of reassurance. The elephant blinked, and for a moment, the weight of the world lifted. As Ginger explored further, she found a grieving bear, sitting forlornly beneath a tree. "I miss my old home," the bear sighed, tears in its eyes. Feeling the bear's sadness resonate, Ginger curled up next to it, sharing warmth and silently promising that they would find a way to help each other. Next came a wise old lion, whose mane showed the passage of time. "Courage is born from compassion," he whispered, his voice a comforting rumble that filled Ginger with resolve. Each encounter deepened her understanding of what it meant to face struggle. She realized that these animals felt just as lost as her town's families did, and that they needed each other just like Emma needed her community. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now, let's continue. As Ginger's heart swelled with hope, she teamed up with Emma to rally their neighbors. They held brainstorming sessions under the sprawling shade of the backyard tree, laughter overlapping with nervous whispers of doubt. Ideas flew like confetti, yet just as quickly they fizzled out. Emma felt a pang of despair as the weight of reality pressed down on them. Then, as dawn broke on the day of the critical town meeting, a flicker of hope ignited. Word of a local journalist spread through the community, a chance to share their story and beckon larger support. But as Emma glanced at Ginger by her side, the challenge loomed large. Would their unyielding spirit be enough to bridge the gap? Would the bonds forged in a time of turmoil save not only the zoo, but also rekindle the fire of community love? The answer hung in the balance, waiting for courage to take the stage. Emma woke early that morning, her heart racing with nervous energy. Today was crucial. She could hear Ginger's soft snores from across the room, and it brought a smile to her face. The puppy's carefree spirit was a comfort in these uncertain times. Emma gently nudged her awake, and the little dog blinked, giving her a yawn that mixed with a stretch. "Today's the day, Ginger," Emma said, her voice filled with both excitement and fear. The puppy tilted her head as if she understood the weight of those words. They had so much to do before the town meeting. The school banners they'd painted during their impromptu rally hung outside, fluttering in the gentle morning breeze like the hope they clung to. As they headed to the community center, Emma couldn't shake the nagging worry that filled her thoughts like storm clouds. Would the townspeople come together? Would anyone even care about their zoo? Important, grown-up worries bounced around in her mind, but she pushed them aside, remembering the gentle giant of an elephant and the grieving bear. If they could show courage, then so could she. The community center buzzed with chatter when they arrived, families gathering, their conversations thick with concern. Emma searched the crowd for familiar faces, seeking comfort in those she knew. But as the meeting began, nerves fluttered in her stomach. A town council member stood up to speak, their words heavy with the reality of their situation. "We simply don't have the funds to keep this zoo open," he explained, glancing at his notes. "We'll have to make some tough choices moving forward." The murmurs of dissent rippling through the crowd made Emma's heart sink. She clenched Ginger's collar tightly, feeling the weight of her puppy's warmth in her palm. Then came the moment Emma had been waiting for. Taking a deep breath, she stood up. "Wait." Her voice rang out, catching the attention of the room. All eyes turned to her, some surprised, others skeptical. She could feel her heart thumping loudly as she looked at her neighbors. "I want to tell you all about what happens in the zoo. It's not just a place for animals. It's a place for friends, and we're friends, right?" She pointed at the crowd, a flicker of determination igniting in her chest. "Ginger and I found the zoo last week. And those animals, they feel just like us. They're scared and worried they'll be lost, just like us when we got those letters about the zoo closing. But I believe we can help them." Emma's eyes sparkled with hope as she shared her encounters with the elephant, the bear, and the lion. She told them how courage came from compassion and how by working together, they could save not just the animals but the heart of their town. Silence fell over the crowd. Emma bit her lip, waiting for a response. Murmurs started to build again, this time tinged with curiosity and camaraderie. Slowly, hands began to raise in support. One after another, neighbors stood to talk about their love for the zoo, sharing memories of the laughter their families had experienced there. Just when it seemed there might be a real chance, a gruff voice cut through the air. "And how do you plan to raise the money, Emma?" The question hung like a dark cloud overhead. Emma swallowed hard, her courage wavering momentarily. She had hoped to inspire them without a complete plan, but now doubt crept in. What if they didn't believe in their idea? What if her dreams crumbled before her? Just as she was about to back down, Ginger nudged her ankle, grounding her. With new resolve, Emma looked back at the crowd, her heart racing as she gathered her thoughts. Well, we could organize events. We could ask local businesses for support and collect donations. The momentum shifted. Gasps turned into nods as excitement filled the room. But as Emma spoke, she knew it wasn't just about raising money anymore. It was about reviving their community spirit, about building something bigger than just saving a zoo. As ideas began to flow, Emma felt that spark of hope grow. Could they really do this? Could they unite for a cause that meant so much to them all? But just as energy surged through the crowd, the door swung open. A stranger walked in, carrying a stack of papers. "I'm from the newspaper, and I heard there's an exciting initiative happening here." Emma froze at the sight, uncertainty swirling within her. Was this the opportunity they needed, or yet another hurdle to face? Emma's breath caught in her throat as she processed the stranger's entrance. The chatter around her faded to a murmur, her heart pounding loudly in her ears. Was this person here to help them, or to report bad news? The journalist stepped forward, his gaze sweeping the room. "I'm Jack," he introduced himself, voice steady and warm. "I'd like to hear more about this initiative you're starting, a community effort to save the zoo." "Sounds inspiring." A ripple of hope cascaded through the crowd. Emma felt a flush of warmth spreading from her cheeks to her fingertips. "Yes, we want to save the zoo because it's not just a bunch of animals. It's part of who we are. It's where families have made memories." Jack nodded, his pen poised above the paper. "And how can people contribute?" he asked, eyes bright with curiosity. Emma's mind raced. This was it, a chance to really spread their message. We're planning events to raise awareness and money. A bake sale, maybe some fun runs, and even a talent show. She glanced around the room, gauging the reaction. Smiles were breaking out. Murmurs filled the air again, this time with excitement. "What if we hosted a zoo day?" A familiar voice called from the back. It was Mr. Thompson, the owner of the local grocery store. "We could set up booths, maybe even a petting zoo. Kids love that stuff." "Yes," Emma beamed, encouraged by this show of support. "If more businesses join in, we can make it a big event, and I could ask for help to spread the word." The crowd grew louder, brainstorming ideas with fervor. Emma clasped Ginger to her chest, who seemed just as excited, barking happily. They were all in this together. It felt like a spark, igniting a flame of fire full of passion for their beloved zoo. But as the energy surged around her, a shadow fell over Emma's joy. Jack's expression had shifted, and he cleared his throat. "I must tell you, though the timeline is tight. If things don't move quickly, the decision on the zoo's fate will be finalized soon." The weight of his words hit Emma like a punch to the gut. "How fast do we need to act?" she managed to whisper. "Within a month. Funds need to be secured. Plans in place, otherwise." His voice trailed off, leaving a knot forming in Emma's stomach. The feverish excitement began to fade, replaced by a sense of urgency. They had no time to waste. Emma gazed into the resolute faces surrounding her. They were ready to fight, but the clock was ticking. "We'll do it," Emma said, boosted by the resolve in her voice. "We'll save our zoo." The room erupted in applause, but beneath that excitement was an undercurrent of fear. As ideas bounced around the room, Emma's mind started spinning with plans, but doubt lingered at the edges. She had the support of her neighbors, but was it enough to make a real difference? Then Jack raised an eyebrow, looking at Emma with unwavering intensity. "And if you can get notable figures in the community to rally behind this effort, it might give you the boost you need. Can you think of anyone to reach out to?" Emma's heart raced. She could think of a few names, but they were big names. Important people who could help but might not even return a call. Her hand gripped Ginger, heart racing as possibilities filled her mind. If she could convince those people, it could turn the tide. Absolutely. She said, determination cutting through her hesitation. I'll put together a list. With the meeting refocused, they began talking strategy. But deep down Emma knew this was going to be harder than she ever imagined. As hope flickered alongside anxiety, she couldn't shake the feeling that something more would come from this effort. As the meeting wrapped up and the crowd started filtering out, Emma remained behind with Ginger. She glanced at Jack, pondering how to expand this initiative further. But just then she caught sight of a flyer on the wall. It announced the annual town fair, only weeks away. An idea sparked within her, thrilling and terrifying all at once. Could this be the moment they could stake their claim for the zoo? Emma's heart raced with the possibilities. But would she have enough time to pull it all together, or would this be the opportunity that slipped through her fingers? Emma stood there, heart racing, as the uncertainty loomed large. Excitement mixed with fear as new plans began forming in her mind. But what would she discover once she put them into action? Emma's thoughts tumbled like marbles as she paced the small office, Ginger at her heels. The annual town fair was an opportunity like no other. With a little luck, maybe it could draw enough people and resources to create the momentum they desperately needed. She glanced out the window, watching the dusky sky painted with hues of orange and light purple. The fair had always been a highlight of the year, a time for families to come together and celebrate. If they could somehow align the zoo's mission with the fair's activities, it could be a game changer. Okay, Ginger, she said aloud. The puppy's ears perked up with her voice, his big brown eyes sparkling with curiosity. We need to devise a plan. They would need a booth, something that showcased the zoo's cause, attracted attention, and engaged the community. Emma's mind flickered with ideas. She envisioned a colorful stand filled with vibrant images of the animals they were trying to save, maybe even a small petting corner featuring friendly critters. But how to make it happen? Let's break it down, Emma knelt, scribbling the ideas in a notebook that was covered with doodles and scribbles of her thoughts. First, we need volunteers. People who are willing to help set up the booth and talk to visitors. Do you think we can pull together a team? Ginger barked as if encouraging her, and that small sound filled Emma with warmth. It's just us against the world, huh? Deciding to make the call for volunteers right away, Emma hopped onto her phone, fingers trembling with excitement as she crafted a message to her friends and neighbors. One by one, she sent out invitations to join the initiative. She could almost hear them saying yes through the screen, their enthusiasm infectious even from a distance. Her phone buzzed back almost immediately. Responses came flooding in: her friend Sarah, Mr. Thompson, even a few of the kids from school. They were ready to pitch in. With each affirmation, Emma felt her confidence grow. Perhaps they could rally even more support. The thought of reaching out to the notable figures in town made her stomach flutter again. She pulled a deep breath through her chest. You can do this, she whispered to herself. As night settled in, Emma leaned back in her chair, glancing at Ginger, who had curled up beside her feet. We've got a long way to go, buddy, but I can see it. I can see the zoo saved, and families enjoying it for years to come. Just then, her phone buzzed again, interrupting her reverie. This time it was a message from Jack. "I'd be happy to cover your booth at the fair if you have something interesting to share about the zoo efforts. It might draw attention." A flood of relief washed over her. With Jack on their side, they could amplify their message. But as the excitement rushed in, another wave of doubt followed. Would it be enough? Emma's eyes caught the flyer. Again, the vibrancy of the fair beckoned like a dream. The people, the laughter, the chatter. It could unite her community like never before. Time to get moving, Ginger. She gathered her things, determination sparking as she prepared for the next steps. But in that moment, she couldn't shake the gnawing worry. Would the support be enough to tilt the scales in their favor? With her heart pounding, she reached for her notepad, pen poised in the air. She needed to brainstorm ideas that could capture the attention of the public and those influential figures. But just as she started writing, the door creaked open slightly. It was Jack again, a serious look on his face. "Emma, we need to talk. There's something you should know." The words hung heavily in the air, and Emma's stomach dropped. What could he possibly say that would change everything this close to their goal? Would this be the setback they feared? Emma felt the rise of tension as she waited, heart racing. What revelation awaited her just around the corner? Emma's breath caught in her throat. Jack's hesitation was palpable, the weight of unspoken news pressing down on them both. Was he about to douse her dreams before they even took flight? She could feel Ginger's warmth against her leg, a soothing reminder that they were in this together. "Emma," Jack finally said, the corner of his mouth twitching as if he were wrestling with his own thoughts. "There's been a decision made by the town council regarding the fair." "What kind of decision?" she asked, already bracing for the worst. "They're considering cutting down the number of booths this year." His voice softened. "Including ours, unless we can prove that we can attract significant interest." Her heart sank. "But we have ideas. We have volunteers." The protest hung in the air, desperation creeping in. "We can make it exciting, Jack. This fair could be our chance." Jack held up a hand, the genuine concern in his eyes a stark contrast to her rising panic. "I know, Emma. Believe me, I want this to work just as much as you do. But I think we need something extra, something that will really pull the community in. We can't just rely on the zoo's mission alone." A silence choked the room. Emma could feel the walls close in. What could be more captivating? Her mind raced through the ideas she'd been sketching out just moments ago. Maybe a collaboration with local businesses, demonstrations involving their animals. But they still felt too small, inadequate against the looming shadow of the council's decision. Ginger barked lightly, breaking through Emma's fog of uncertainty. A glimmer of inspiration sparked. "What if we create an event within the event?" she exclaimed, energy surging back. "Something where families can come, experience the zoo's mission firsthand, and maybe even engage in fun activities themed around the animals. Like Ginger's adventure, a little treasure hunt for the kids." Jack's eyebrows rose, a hint of intrigue in his expression. "That could work, if we can get businesses involved. They might help fund the booth or provide prizes." Emma nodded vigorously, her confidence rekindling. "And what if we set up live demonstrations with some of the bigger animals. An interaction that could bring in crowds, something people can't ignore. Yes, if we can feature some local favorites, families won't be able to resist coming, Jack added, warming to the idea. They spent the next hour mapping out their thoughts, new ideas cascading from one another. By the time they finished, desperation had transformed into a newfound resolve. Emma didn't just want to save the zoo. She wanted to fire up the town's spirit. "Okay, Ginger," she said, looking down at her puppy, who seemed to sense their excitement. "Are you ready?" Ginger wagged his tail, as if promising to cheer them on every step of the way. As their plans began to take form, Emma's confidence grew. They were on the verge of creating something big. But as they prepared to share their vision with the community, one question lingered. Did they truly have enough time to pull it all together before the fair? Jack glanced at her, a hint of uncertainty shadowing his face. "Emma, we can't leave anything to chance. This is our moment." With her hand tightened around her notepad, Emma's heart raced again, not from fear this time, but from sheer determination. "Then let's make our moment count." But before they could finalize their plans, a loud crash echoed from outside. Emma turned, worry creeping in again. What could that be? "Let's check it out," she suggested, anxiety tightening her chest. Heart pounding, they rushed to the door, uncertainty gripping them once more. What awaited them outside? Emma opened the door, her breath hitching as the cool evening air rushed in, mingling with her anxious thoughts. She and Jack stepped outside, hearts pounding in unison, only to find chaos. A fallen tree lay across the path leading to the zoo. The sound of splintering wood echoed, and a bewildered crowd had gathered to gawk. Emma felt a swell of dread. The fair was just days away, and now this. Ginger yanked at the leash, eager to investigate. "Is anyone hurt?" Jack shouted to someone in the crowd. The murmur rippled through the onlookers as people shook their heads. Relief washed over Emma, but just as swiftly, another wave of concern slammed into her. "We're going to have to get that cleaned up, if it's blocking the path to the zoo." She glanced toward the small crowd, faces lit by fleeting interests but heavy with disbelief. "We can't let this ruin our fair. We need them on our side." Jack's eyes burned with understanding. "You're right. We can rally people to help clear it, maybe, make it a community effort. It could show everyone how we can come together." "Brilliant." Emma beamed, her mind shifting into action mode. "What if we turned this into part of our fair promotion? Help us clear the way for the fair. We can turn a mishap into a story of unity." As she spoke, the energy began to shift. Peopli nodded stepped for enthusiasm. She could see them beginning to envision not just a fair, but a connecting force for the community. Ginger barked, trying to capture their attention, tail wagging in blissful disregard of the chaos. His joy was infectious, and Emma found herself smiling at the pup's innocence. "All right, everyone, let's make this a fun cleanup event. We'll have snacks and drinks. After we clear this, we can all go to the zoo together." The crowd started to buzz with excitement, individuals breaking off to gather tools. Emma caught Jack's eye, and he nodded approvingly. They were building something stronger than they had before. As the group slowly rallied, Emma thought about how this unfortunate situation had created an opportunity. She directed them cheering as people came together with shovels and saws, laughter reducing the tension that hung in the air. Hours passed as they worked, the atmosphere turning bright with enthusiasm. When the last branch was tossed aside, there was an overwhelming sense of accomplishment. The path was cleared and all around them was laughter and chatter. "Thank you all for stepping up," Emma said, stepping onto a small makeshift platform, feeling powerful, passionate. "This is what our zoo is about. Community. We're not just about animals. We're about people, too." The crowd zeroed in on her, their expressions filled with pride. "Tomorrow, we'll spread the word about our event. Let's make the fair a celebration of who we are. Together." Emma beamed, heart swelling. They had the momentum. Now, the spark of community was lighting the path. But just as she felt on top of the world, another thought stabbed through her excitement. Was this unity enough to sway the council? Or would their hard work dissipate in the shadows of bureaucracy once again? Jack's touch on her shoulder pulled her back to reality. "Emma, it's going to be tight. Are we ready?" Just as Emma opened her mouth to respond, a loud horn honked nearby, and the crowd turned to see a large truck pulling up, emblazoned with the town's logo. "What's that?" She wondered aloud, trepidation mixing with curiosity. Could this be help or another hurdle? As the truck parked, anticipation hung in the air. Emma took a step forward, ready to uncover whatever was inside. What awaited her beyond the door? Emma's heart raced as she approached the truck. The engine rumbled down to silence, leaving only the curious whispers of the crowd. Jack was right beside her, a mix of excitement and anxiety dancing in his eyes. A tall man stepped out of the driver's side, wearing a bright blue shirt with the town's logo emblazoned across the chest. He had a friendly smile that seemed to reassure many of the onlookers. "Hey, everyone. Sorry to intrude, but I've got some supplies for you." Emma felt a spark of hope flare in her chest. "Supplies?" "Yeah. We heard about the tree and the fair, so we brought food, drinks, and some tools to help with the cleanup," he said, gesturing towards the back of the truck. "We want to support your efforts. This fair means a lot to the community." A wave of relief washed over Emma. "Thank you. This is amazing." As the crowd gathered around, the man began unloading boxes filled with snacks, bottled water, and bright orange traffic cones. Laughter bubbled through the group as volunteers stepped forward to help organize the items. Jack leaned over to Emma. "Looks like fate is on our side today." Just then, a rustling sound emerged from within the truck. Emma, still buzzing with excitement, glanced back just in time to see another figure emerge. Her eyes widened at the furry sight before her. A tiny puppy bounded into view, tail wagging furiously, nearly tripping over its own paws in its eagerness. Ginger barked happily in response, and Emma felt a warmth rise within her. "What a cutie! Is that part of the supplies?" The man laughed, crouching down to offer the puppy a gentle scratch behind the ears. "This is Sunny. She's a new addition to the petting zoo. We thought it would be a great way to engage the kids during the fair. Who doesn't love a puppy?" The crowd, now completely captivated, surrounded the little dog. Children squealed as they edged closer, and parents followed suit, beaming at the unmistakable joy on their children's faces. Emma knelt beside the puppy, who eagerly trotted over and nuzzled against her. "Oh, you are just the cutest," she exclaimed, her worries melting away like ice on a summer day. Sunny promptly rolled over, asking for belly rubs. As more people gathered, Emma looked up at Jack, her heart soaring. This is happening. We're really bringing everyone together. After the disaster, look at this. It's the best part of a community. Jack smiled wide, almost breathing in the excitement around them. This is just what we needed. We can't stop now. We still have to get the word out. Emma agreed, already plotting their next move. Let's set up an announcement for tomorrow. We can use Sunny as our mascot for the fair. But just then a voice cut through the laughter. Excuse me. A woman stepped forward, her brow furrowed with uncertainty. I heard about the fair, but the council might still shut it down. Emma's heart sank at the words, the joy around her momentarily dimmed by doubt. The crowd buzzed again, whispers of concern rippling throughout. Could they really pull this off? Feeling the weight of responsibility, Emma clasped her hands together, her gaze flickering from the people to the puppy. We've shown we can come together. Let's make sure the council sees that. We need to gather everyone and show them our spirit. Can we count on all of you? The crowd murmured affirmative responses, but Emma knew they needed something more than just words. As the uncertainty lingered in the air, she took a deep breath, thinking of the fair's golden bond that tethered them all. Let's share our story. Then, what if we created a video? Show them the joy, the laughter. An impactful narrative, Jack chimed in, excitement glimmering. That will resonate with them. Emma nodded, her resolve returning, bolstered by the joy of Sunny and the community standing strong beside her. But as they formed teams to capture this, Emma couldn't shake the gnawing pressure inside. Would their efforts touch the council's hearts? Or would it all crumble and the fair be lost before it even began? Meanwhile, Sunny jumped into Ginger's lap, two young spirits intertwined in innocence. Emma made up her mind. This was all worth fighting for. The time was now more pressing than ever. Could they pull this together in time? Would it be enough to sway those in power? The uncertainty buzzed within her as they gathered, hearts open and full. Suddenly, the puppy licked her face, and she laughed, a brief moment of lightness amid the clouds. But what other surprises were hidden in store? Emma felt the warmth of Sunny's tiny body against her, and for a moment, the worries drifted away. The crowd vibrated with energy, the rhythm of excitement palpable in the air. She squeezed Sunny gently, and the puppy's bright eyes sparkled with mischief, adding a lightness to their dire challenge. All right, Emma said, clearing her throat to gather everyone's attention. Let's break into groups. We'll need one team to plan the video, another to organize the logistics for the fair, and one just for spreading the word. Jack nodded, his enthusiasm catching on. We also need a cheer squad. Not just for the fair, but to show the council that we're united. Emma glanced around as people started murmuring about what roles they wanted to take on. Children continued to giggle around Sunny, and she realized just how much this little puppy had already sparked joy that morning. Okay, who wants to be in charge of social media? Emma called out. A few hands shot up eagerly, and she felt a surge of hope. And how about show of hands for those who can record video? We'll need you to capture everything, from planning to the final fair day. The volunteers filed in. The energy surged, full of possibilities. As she organized the team, Emma couldn't help but feel the weight of every heart and soul there. Each person standing before her had come in hope, looking for a reason to believe. Time flew as they brainstormed. Jack, with his camera instincts, discussed angles and story arcs with the videographers. Others formulated invitations, gathering sponsorships, and planning decorations. Emma stepped back to take it all in, her heart swelling. They were truly a community, working for one cause. In the midst of a chaotic planning moment, a thoughtful woman approached Emma, her brows drawn together. What if the council wants more than just a video? What if they want commitments in writing? Emma's stomach churned again. Are they going to demand a lot? I just wish they would see how important this is for everyone. The fair isn't just another event. It's about healing our community. Sunny frolicked near their feet, blissfully unaware of the looming doubt. Emma watched as the little puppy brought smiles to the adults as they tried to incorporate it into the project. Maybe we could write letters too, Jack suggested, sidelining the tension. A combination of our video and personal letters from community members show the council our heart in every way. Yeah, Emma beamed, heartened by the shift in conversation. We can bring personal stories in those letters. What this fair means to our kids, families, how it restores hope. With renewed energy, they dove back into planning. But the nagging doubt still echoed in the back of her mind. As the day wore on, her spirit was lifted, yet the question loomed, nagging more insistently each minute. At last, they split into their groups. Emma grabbed paper and markers, preparing to jot ideas and stories to weave into their video and letters. As she wrote, she couldn't help but envision the fair, the laughter, the connection, what it would mean not just for her, but for so many. Just then, from the corner of her eye, Emma spotted someone watching them from a distance. A figure, slightly shadowed yet familiar. A pang shot through her chest as she recognized the woman, Jenna, the council member known for challenging everything new. What is she doing here? Emma whispered to Jack, who frowned. Not sure, but let's keep focused, he replied. Emma's heart raced again, a fresh wave of worry hitting her. What was Jenna planning? Would she take their spirit and crush it? Just then, Sunny yapped, jostling her thoughts. Emma looked down and found the tiny puppy staring back, ready for her next move. But what was it hiding? Could this little connection carry them through the storm brewing? Emma felt a mix of determination and fear as they prepared their message for the council. Would their efforts be enough to make a change? Or would their dreams fade just before the finish line? Emma took a deep breath and tried to shake off the unease that Jenna's presence brought. The gathering was meant to be a beacon of hope, but the shadow of doubt danced at the edges of her vision. She turned her attention back to the group, who were now scattered across the lawn, busy with colorful markers and laughter. All right, everyone, let's get some of these ideas down. She called out, her voice steady despite the tremors in her heart. Each participant leaned in, eager to share their thoughts, and Emma felt that familiar surge of warmth returning. This was their moment to shine, to show not just the council, but themselves, that their community still held the power to unite. Jenna stood off to the side, her arms crossed, observing. Emma tried to ignore her, but with every laugh and cheer that rose from the group, she felt the scrutiny on her shoulders. What if Jenna didn't see the beauty of their hard work? What if she dismissed their hopes without a second thought? Okay, let's start with what the fair means to each of us, Jack suggested, breaking Emma from her spiraling thoughts. Personal stories will really add depth. Yeah, like how the fair helped my brother make friends, piped up a young girl, her eyes sparkling. He was super shy before, but now he can't wait. Her enthusiasm spread through the group like wildfire, igniting more stories. As they shared, Emma jotted down snippets, feeling a swell of pride. Tearful memories of kids finding joy, families reconnecting. These moments mattered. They would make the council see. Suddenly, someone shouted, "Let's do a group photo." The idea lit a spark. Before she knew it, everyone was gathering, puppies wriggling in their arms and smiles lighting up even the most serious faces. Emma held Sunny up, the tiny pup a friendly face amongst the laughter. Click! The camera flashed, capturing a moment of pure hope. Emma felt the warmth of those around her, embracing their shared vision, and she was reminded of why they were here. It wasn't just a fair. It was a lifeline. Yet, the tightness in her chest didn't dissolve. She glanced back at Jenna, who had not moved. Her expression remained inscrutable, and a knot twisted in Emma's stomach. Would she take this moment, filled with camaraderie, and twist it into doubt? Jack nudged her gently. "Hey, don't let it get to you. Whatever she's thinking, we're doing something great here." Right, Emma forced a smile, trying to believe it. They returned to organizing, now bustling with excitement. The energy surged, forming bonds right there on the grass. Each letter, each story expressed their hope, showing their town's heart. As dusk began to settle around them, casting a golden glow, Emma felt a pulse of determination. They would send the letters and the video. They would show the council what they could do united. But in the pit of her stomach, she could still feel a whisper of unease. Then, just as she collected herself to announce their next steps, she spotted Jenna striding toward them. The murmurs faded, and the laughter quieted as the council member approached, her face unreadable. "What are you doing here?" Emma thought she would say, but her heart thrummed, caught between anticipation and dread. "Can I talk to you?" Jenna's voice cut through the evening air, firm yet steady. Emma's breath caught. What could she possibly want? The council member had always been a source of worry, a figure of resistance. Would this be the moment that could break or build their mission? Emma's mind raced as she glanced at her friends, drawn together in shared purpose, each one of them watching the confrontation unfold. "Sure," she replied cautiously, stepping forward. What would Jenna reveal? Would it shatter their hopes or strengthen their resolve? Emma felt her heart beating fast, uncertainty filling the space between them as she braced herself for the unexpected truth. Jenna cleared her throat, her gaze somber yet intent. "I've been watching your group today," she said, her voice steady. "And I can't say I haven't been impressed." Emma blinked, caught off guard. She always expected a critique, a dismissive comment about their dreams for the zoo and the fair. Instead, Jenna's words felt like a dawn breaking through a long night. "Really?" Emma asked, caution lacing her tone. The council member nodded. "All this creativity, the community spirit, it shows potential, but the council needs more than passion. We need to see plans for commitments, financial backing, and proof that you're not just a blip on the radar." Emma's heart raced at the mention of proof. She had expected that ultimatum, something substantial. "We're working on it," she assured, her confidence wavering slightly. "Tomorrow, we'll present our video and letters and show you how much this means to us, to everyone." Jenna raised an eyebrow, her expression shifting from skepticism to consideration. "How about this? I'll help you prepare for your presentation and get you in front of the council faster. I see the fire in your community's heart. I want more of that in our town." The words were like a soft rain after a drought. Emma's heart soared, but doubt still lingered. Jenna leaned in, her expression softening. "Just be ready. The council will want to see figures, actual support-based plans. This needs to speak volumes, not just out of hope." Emma nodded, determination flooding through her veins. "We will show them." With Jenna's offer, the atmosphere shifted. Emma felt the warmth of optimism surround them. "Can we do it?" she asked Jack, looking at the group. "We have to pull this together." "Absolutely." Jack clapped proactively, catching the encouragement like fireworks. "Let's use tonight to solidify our video, cover those details, and gather as much community support as we can." The cheer that erupted from the group was infectious. They huddled closer, hope renewing their spirits. Emma glided to her notepad, thrusting her pencil against the page with renewed urgency. Stories were written. Ideas flowed freely, and plans formed like polished jewels. Sunny and Ginger played near their feet, amplifying the lightness amidst the serious work. Bright banners were drawn, catchy slogans refined, and the video script took shape. Emma led the charge, her voice steady as she mapped out their community strengths and commitments. As the hours sped by, ideas coalesced into a solid plan. Parents expressed willingness to contribute, local businesses pledged support, and volunteers promised their time. It felt surreal. The doubt that had shrouded the room just hours before began to lift, replaced with a palpable sense of unity. "Let's meet with Jenna first thing tomorrow and show her our progress," Jack encouraged, excitement in his voice. "She can help us polish our presentation, maybe even bring some council members along." Emma beamed, the warmth of the community wrapping around her in encouragement. Yes, this is really happening. With newfound strength, they wrapped their evening together, each person leaving with smiles brighter than the stars that twinkled above. Emma watched her neighbors drift home with a heart full of hope. Feelings she knew would ignite when they reconvened with fresh energy. As the dawn broke the following day, Emma moved through her morning with purpose, anticipation buzzing through her. Ginger pranced happily beside her, energy contagious in the crisp air. They rehearsed their presentation in Emma's mind, a blend of numbers, stories, and images dancing together, ready to tell the potential of not just the zoo, but their community itself. They arrived at the community center, where Jenna awaited, the council members at her side, faces set in determination. Fear curled in Emma's stomach, but she took a deep breath, reminding herself of the stories she had gathered and the passions fueled by hope. As she presented their plans, detailed letters, heartfelt stories, and data on support gathered, Emma felt the faces of her neighbors behind her, a warm reminder of purpose. The council's eyes flickered with interest. Jenna interjected at intervals, supporting Emma's vision, and soon her nervousness melted into powerful conviction as their message resonated. The atmosphere shifted, excitement sparked in the room, and Emma felt an uplifting surge of momentum that bound them all together. And when it ended, there was a quiet moment of reflection. Jack squeezed her arm, the energy palpable around them. "Whatever happens, we did it together, Emma," he whispered, his faith bubbling to the surface. After what felt like an eternity, the council members exchanged glances before turning back toward Emma. "We're impressed," one of them declared. And the weight of the words settled pleasantly in the room. "The passion, the support you've proven to us that saving this zoo matters. We'll work to extend its lease for another year, as long as you keep this momentum." A collective gasp of disbelief rose as clarity filled the air. They had done it. The tears spilled over Emma's cheeks, releasing the tension that had bound her heart for so long. Waves of celebration erupted in the community. Emma looked at Jack and Jenna, grateful for their support, for the realization that they had all worked together, fighting for the heart of their town. "Thank you," Emma cried, overwhelmed with emotion. "Thank you to each one of you who believed we could do this." As applause resonated among the gathered community members, Emma clutched Ginger and Sunny closer, watching as smiles stretched across familiar faces. This was a new beginning. It was proof that love could rally against any storm, binding them together. And for the next chapter of their story, as they planned the most vibrant fair their town would ever see, Emma knew that they had not only saved a zoo but also reignited the very spirit of their community. Now came the time for the fair to fill up the heart with joy, to bring unity, and to celebrate the connections they had strengthened. And now, as the screen fades around the joyous scene of their reunion, let me tell you, you need to subscribe now to not miss the next exclusive stories that will tug at your heart. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. We need your support. Comment your reactions and feelings about this incredible ending and share with at least 5 friends who need this message of transformation and community. Don't wait, not even one more second to share this adventure. Only true fans understand the importance of supporting the channel through these actions. Your heart brought this story to life, so let's keep the momentum rolling.